Okay, so my time is now. We got my 10 pitches for Secret Wars, Doomsday, and the MCU in general.
Aye.
So, old Jonathan here just went through his 10.
Yep.
Which was all sorts of shit with the Maker and the Punisher and Young Avengers and all sorts of
Norman Osborn. A lot of Norman Osborn.
casting malarkey and characters and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
I didn't actually say who I wanted to cast as anybody.
no, you didn't. I was surprised. I thought you had some fan casts locked and loaded.
No. I was like, I'm not going to fan cast anything. I just want to put characters.
Now let me show you my slideshow of 50 fan casts.
Jeez.
So, XMen.
Hey.
So, this is just for I've got for every single slide, whether or not it's general MCU or specifically Secret Wars / Doomsday, the films.
Put a lot of work into this then.
I have. So, generally, I just want there to be a focus on X-Men. They should be the core focus for the next few phases because they have an entire history of, like, what, fucking 50, 60 years?
That you can pull from and stuff.
Exactly. So why aren't we doing that? And I know that they've tried, adapting Dark Phoenix here and there.
But they've never quite got it right.
They haven't, and you don't need to.
No.
Don't do it anymore.
No, just
or
stop.
if you're gonna do it later because there's interesting stories.
They always rush to do it because I think that happens years into the X-Men's run.
It doesn't happen until the 90s.
Doesn't
Is
she
it the 90s?
It's either the 90s or the 80s. But doesn't she die and then come back as the Dark Phoenix? I don't think they ever kill her.
I have no clue. But I'd like to even see the original.
No, they killed her in the original one. Sorry.
I think it's giant-sized X-Men where they go to the living island of Krakoa for the first time. I'd love to see that in a film. Give us some classic shit. I think the X-Men are probably one of the strongest golden era kind of comic book groups that still hold up to this day. So, I've listed here, X-Men are deep-rooted in politics. I think that it's very fitting for modern movie audiences.
It's rooted in, politics and, racism,
the entire
sexism,
group,
everything.
Exactly. The entire group deals with
because that's
misogyny.
What people always say about the X-Men. It's people relate to them or, got into them because
the whole
they
point
saw
is
themselves
that they are
in their struggle.
They're a group of misfits that don't fit in with society. And I feel like that is very, very, appealing to a modern day audience.
I'm also just seeing how you've wrote this on Slack. You know when you jazz mine up a little bit? Would you be able to write mine on like this?
Yeah, more than likely, yeah.
Thank you very much.
So with the work that Hickman has been doing with the newer Krakoa arcs and reinvention of the X-Men, it seems like a no-brainer to introduce the X-Men, put a hard focus on them. You've got Genosha that you can explore with Magneto and having a mutant state. You've got Krakoa, you've got Trask and the Sentinels.
Yeah.
There's so much shit there that you can explore. And I have faith that Kevin Feige is going to put some focus on them because he was involved with the original films.
Yeah.
So I have some hope for it. The X-Men corner of Marvel is enough to compete with street-level Avengers and Cosmic Avengers on its own. So let's have mutant Marvel, basically.
Okay.
Casting!
Hey!
This is for the general MCU.
Okay.
So, and I'm a little bit conflicted on this myself because it's going to be very difficult, but I want them to establish a James Bond-style mindset where characters can be played by different actors within the same continuity. So similar to what you said.
Right.
In terms of the Doom casting.
Yeah.
So, this has already been done with Harrison Ford and Mark Ruffalo playing the same character that was previously played by a different actor.
Yeah.
So, it is a possibility. Audiences
you sign
can
up
do
for
it.
a set amount of films,
Exactly.
and then after that, you keep the character around.
You could sign up for maybe 2 phases. The character stays as they are, but we swap the actor
Or
out.
it'd just be like in the comics when someone draws a character slightly different.
Exactly. Just do it confidently and with a bold swing and it'll be accepted by audiences. If they go into it knowing what they're doing and with an actor that can do it, that is capable of doing it, then it'll work.
And they can also bring their own things to the characters. Like you said with the James Bond thing, each Bond is slightly different. But it's the same core character, but slightly different changes to the character.
There are multiple high-ranking Avengers characters and supporting roles that are important for long-term storytelling, but are played by people in their late 40s and early 50s, i.e. Pedro Pascal. He cannot be Reed Richards for the next 2 decades of Marvel films.
No.
We need a younger version. It makes it difficult to be invested in those characters when it feels like they might be getting written out or downplayed because of the actor portraying them. Obviously, this is no disrespect to the actors themselves. It's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
Like, we all fucking age, and Marvel is never going away at this point. There's always going to be some form of Marvel content now. It's massive.
Oh God, that's post-apocalyptic.
I've used another example of this as Wiccan, because even though I love the actor, at some point he's going to be too old to play 18, 20-year-old Wiccan.
Well, they might just have his character
you
grow
can
old
just
in the universe.
age him up, but some of the stories, at least for now, that they Wiccan has a much smaller archive of reference material.
Yeah.
And a lot of it focuses around the fact that he is only, barely in his mid-20s.
It's because Marvel have this fucking problem with characters actually aging.
Yeah.
In the comics, not necessarily the films. The films, I think, you grow old with these characters. Tony Stark, when he starts, you have a full character arc there.
Yeah.
And you see him become older and wiser, but he's still an arsehole. But whereas with the comics, it's you've put there, Wiccan's been a teenager for the past 20 years. Spider-Man is the worst example. They refuse to let him age and have any character adapt. He can't get married and shit like that. It's ridiculous.
So I do think it would be difficult for audiences to swallow, but like I said, I think if you go in it confidently and you do it just matter-of-factly, then it'll work. More general MCU. And you hinted at this very, very briefly, and I was quite happy that you did. But I want multiple Avengers teams.
Yeah.
There's enough characters there to establish multiple Avengers. So I would like to pitch that we get the AIM Avengers, the West Coast Avengers, the SHIELD Avengers, Avengers World. Multiversal Avengers, Cosmic Avengers, Midnight Suns, Champions, whatever you want to fucking call them. Just multiple Avengers squads
and then
that you can have crossing over and having them overlap, and they all come together for big events.
Yeah, you could have multiple different styles of films then.
Exactly. Develop multiple Avengers teams to operate on different levels across the MCU. Realistically, there should be an Avengers film every 3 years to keep interest high. Avengers 2012, Age of Ultron was 2015, Infinity War was 2018.
When was Endgame?
2019.
So that was the only outlier.
Since 2019, we haven't had an Avengers film.
Which is crazy.
Exactly. Considering how frequently they were. And they were perfect, spaces apart.
Gaps.
Yeah.
Let's get all the characters in, see where they're up to now. Let's see how they bounce off each other, and then we'll move on to the next one, the next bits.
Ooh,
that's a lot.
Cameo.
That's a lot.
The reason it's a lot is because this is the point that I said to you about, I reference other things.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is, I think it's time that certain characters take a break, finish up their time in the MCU. From Star-Lord to the Guardians, Vision, Clint Barton, Deadpool.
That one's one I'm surprised at.
Red Guardian, Eternals, Hulk, Thor, Valkyrie. Bearing in mind, I'm talking about what we've seen of them in the MCU so far.
Right, okay.
I think it's time to start benching people or do something with them.
Yeah.
Now, if we trim the roster down or had people take more back seats, we wouldn't be in a situation where we're waiting for a Vision show just to introduce the character Speed.
Right.
We can do it all at once. An alternative for this is more streamlined storytelling and crossover. Scarlet Witch appeared in an Avengers project for 4 years in a row.
Right.
She was on, in a film for 4 fucking consecutive years.
Yeah.
Whether it was an Avengers film or something else.
Mm-hmm.
So, if they start doing that with other people and overlapping characters, you've got Moon Knight in a show. Okay, the following year, stick him in a film.
Yeah.
The following year after that, stick him in an Avengers film.
Okay, yeah.
We saw Wanda appear in fucking Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War.
She was the focus of that as well.
Exactly. She was in every single major film and event. We hit WandaVision, the following year Doctor Strange, and now we've not seen her for 3 years. She's just vanished. And I know she's quotation marks dead.
But she's popped up in the comics.
Exactly. She's only dead because they don't know what to do with her right now.
Which is a bit silly considering how much hyper-focus there was on magic, we're going to do magic. And then, arguably the most, famous magic user in Marvel, apart from maybe Doctor Strange or Doctor Doom, is Scarlet Witch. You'd think she'd have some involvement in the Agatha show, but then that became more about, establishing Wiccan, which is cool, but, I think it's because they're holding off for that big I think they're holding off for that big reunite scene. Yeah. And they're oh, it's so sad. It's well, yeah, but we could have had this in at the end of Agatha.
The exact same can be said for Spider-Man. who debuted in the MCU in 2016 in Civil War, had his own film the next year, starred in Infinity War in 2018, Endgame 2019, Far From Home 2019, so 2 major films, and then vanished for 4 fucking years until No Way Home came out.
That is ridiculous that No Way Home took 4 years to come.
Exactly.
I know the world got, like, shut down.
Oh, yeah, it's not their fault.
But it is wild that the ending of Far From Home in 2019, like, how it ends with the reveal of Peter Parker as Spider-Man, and it took 4 years until we, like, heard anything, about it. It was crazy.
The thing is, like, I get, like, COVID happened, lockdown happened, they physically could not go into production. Despite WandaVision and Doctor Strange and stuff, it doesn't really work
I think
for
that was already made, wasn't it?
But my point is that, like, with Spider-Man, you could have very easily knocked out No Way Home in 2023. We've then got Daredevil the next year.
Yeah.
Do something with those characters. We've then got Thunderbolts. Doesn't appear. Like, there are other places for these characters to be.
So taking out, like, those years for COVID, so when did, like, the world start opening up and they were allowed to start filming it
again? It was, like, late 2021.
Yeah. So when did they start filming that?
They started, Doctor Strange 2 and, so WandaVision and Doctor Strange 2 went into production at the same time.
Yeah.
During COVID.
Right.
So... You're distracting me.
Sorry. So I was trying to work.
What's going on?
I was trying to work out when No Way Home, like, went into production, because I feel like
it would have been around 2022.
So, right.
But bearing in mind they did have a prolonged production.
But, like, he's not been seen in anything since that film.
Yeah. And a lot of that was, I think, filmed in, like, the back end of COVID, because I remember seeing
the COVID thing. So yeah, he's in No Way Home, but then he's not appeared in anything. And, like, Daredevil's a hero in the same city as him. Why is he not featured anywhere there or mentioned or anything? He's just sort of gone.
We know why. It's because of Sony.
Yeah,
but the point is, like, we need to, like, fucking streamline this shit.
Marvel needs to fucking buy Sony at this point.
We need to streamline this shit. I mean, why was She-Hulk not in Cap 4?
We know why.
But the entire storyline of Cap 4 was about Hulk blood. She-Hulk was about Hulk blood. She should have been there.
Do you know who should have been in that movie? Fucking Hulk.
Why isn't your thing?
It's me. It's okay. But you know who should have been in that movie? Fucking Hulk.
Exactly.
Where's Hulk?
This is what I'm saying.
There's, like, not a lot of focus.
I think you either need to start killing people off,
or, like,
retiring people, or I put Cameo supporting role them, throw them in other places. Have them, like,
setting up these next big characters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done a good job with Daredevil. He appeared in No Way Home, popped up in She-Hulk, and boom, now he's got his own show.
He's also an Echo.
And he's an Echo.
And, yeah, you've already said She-Hulk. Yeah.
So there's some synergy going on there. This one's for Secret Wars. We're back to cameos. Yay! This is something that I don't want, and it's token cameos. And what I mean by it...
Is it just a character who pops up because, oh, look, there they are?
Yes. So, I like cameos as much as the next person, but I like cameos even better when they serve the actual story. I don't want to just see endless cameos of former actors and variant characters in Secret Wars. That isn't what Secret Wars is about. It's a great story about death and life and rebirth. I'd love to see the XMen, Thanos, Galactus, the Young Avengers, Ghost Rider, whatever, variants of all the characters, but only if they actually serve the story. Don't bring in Hydra Captain America to fucking pop up in a cool looking outfit, say one line, and then get killed. Because what's the point?
Yeah, that's why I made a point with, like, when I made my Miles Teller point of, like, Mr. Fantastic. It's like, if he's featured in Secret Wars and it's like, it's more in a cameo role, but then they build off of his character following, I wouldn't mind it. But no, I know exactly what you mean, because you've put there about the Flash. The Flash is the worst example of it I've ever seen. They basically desecrated the graves of dead actors to have those cameos.
But that's what I mean. Like, if all of Secret Wars is just a prolonged version of the final act of the Flash,
that'll just be like a parade of fucking cameos. It's like, well, where's the substance?
Exactly. We saw it with No Way Home, where they relied too much on nostalgia.
Yeah, because I was saying this too. I enjoyed No Way Home. When it's like I think it's a good, enjoyable film, but it relies so heavily on nostalgia, and it's probably because of that delay in, like, the COVID. I wonder how much of that original plot was multiversal based, or how much they brought in because, like, shit, it's been ages since we've done Spider-Man. How do we resolve this? We'll bring these old actors back, and we'll go off.
I've moved them around a little bit. So next we've got Disney Plus.
Okay.
So this one is probably the most debatable one out of all the points and pitches I have here.
You really want
I know. I really want synergy between the shows and the films. For a long time, the shows outside of the MCU would reference the films, but not vice versa. For example, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Daredevil, Defenders. Despite being canon, the MCU seemingly refuses to acknowledge anything that actually happens in the shows. For example, Multiverse of Madness ignored WandaVision.
Yeah, it did, and it killed a lot of WandaVision's character. Killed a lot of Wanda's character development from WandaVision.
I cannot stress enough that like so many people will pop up and say, like, oh, but they were in production at the same time. How can Sam Raimi go and watch the film? Pop over to the fucking set and read the script.
Wanda's in your movie. If they're filming at the same time, ask the actress what's going on.
Saying. Like, people bring it up all the fucking times. Oh, well, they were in production at the same time.
They're still filmed in the same fucking place.
This is what I'm saying. Like, and it's not difficult.
Yeah, I think it's just literally like, I'm not doing that.
Thunderbolts,
and haven't they had to retroactively fucking fix that by like, oh yeah, the Darkhold. The Darkhold was like,
well, no, that's just like a fan thing.
Oh right.
Agatha all along has tried to course correct some of it and has managed to, but for the most part, we've just got to deal with it.
How much of Agatha all along is going to be fucking acknowledged?
Well, there you go. Thunderbolts, and I wrote this before we'd even watched the film. Yeah. I just took an educated guess. Has completely ignored Hawkeye and Daredevil. We haven't seen any characters. There was no mention of Yelena meeting Kate Bishop. Anything to do with her trying to take out Hawkeye. Like, nothing related to Yelena's character in those shows or anything was referenced. They completely ignored it. Zero references whatsoever to Spider-Man. They're not even referencing their own films at this point. It's harder and harder to convince general audiences, who are quite clued in at this point, that this is a connected world when there's no crossover between film and show.
Yeah, it feels like you can just ignore the shows, which I have been doing.
Now, there is some... Most noticeably, Deadpool 3 and Loki.
Yeah.
There was a lot of reference with the TVA The Void, the Marvels and Miss Marvel, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Captain America 4, though there should have been some sort of reference between Cap 4 and She-Hulk. There are all these different through lines going through Marvel cinema, but they don't seem to overlap between movie and shows. And I think that either needs to change, or we need TV shows to focus on the street level characters, and movies focus on core Avengers and cosmic stuff.
Like, I think as well, I feel like the She-Hulk one, it was like, oh, we'll see how it goes, and then when it flopped, it's like, we're just going to ignore it.
I've got another point later on, kind of, that addresses that in particular.
Also, just seen your last... The last bit. Also, aside from XMen 97, I think a lot of the animation they're pumping out is flop. Yes. Yeah. Yes, it fucking is.
I mean, let's be real. Season 1 of What If is fine.
Apparently,
it's not anything...
Apparently that Spider-Man show is quite good, but it's like it screams that they wanted that to be Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and Sony put the kibosh on it. It screams of it.
Yeah. This is what I mean, like, why are we getting Marvel Zombies?
I don't know.
Like, just because one episode of What If did pretty good.
It's because, like, the comics really... It's a fun comic, but it's like, what's the point?
Why are we wasting time on it?
Why is that Blade's debut?
Well, yeah, why are we getting, like, the money and resources being put into that when it could be something else?
Well, because it's not like saying that animation is... Like, it's just the stuff that Marvel is putting out is, like...
Yeah, I've got no issue with them doing
If they want
animation.
to do an animated thing, that's fine, but, like... Put some effort in.
Yeah, and I just feel like there's a lot of shit.
X-Men 97 has loads of effort put in, and it's really fucking good for it.
I do think that there are, like I've mentioned, there are some connections to stuff, especially with, like, Deadpool tried really hard to connect to Loki, and, you know, they brought in Isaiah Bradley, despite, like, you know, they always give enough exposition for you to understand what's going on. Yeah. You don't need to go and watch those shows, and I feel like they need to change it so that they're either their own thing, and you've got your street level Avengers on Disney Plus.
You got your TV Avengers, and then you've got your movie Avengers.
Or start making it so that you've got to watch it. Like, none of this fucking, you know, oh, we're gonna do a series about Moon Knight, and then it'll never get referenced again. The worst part is it's not even a good show. Which good. I'm going against the mold a little bit there because people do like it. But my point is, why do a She-Hulk series and just be a one and done and never bring her up again? She was never brought up in Daredevil.
Wait, are you on about Moon Knight or She-Hulk here?
Both.
Oh, both. Okay.
I'm going in solid on both.
He's going in.
You know, I know that Miss Marvel is well regarded, but if you didn't watch it, it didn't matter.
Your font on where it says Cap 4 looks like it says Gap 4.
Okay.
Just thought I'd point that out.
Thanks for that.
I was very confused.
Evolve the failed. This is the point that I was waiting for. So my point here is that, like, we've got Secret Invasion, we've got Iron Fist from the Defenders, we've got Echo, and we've got She-Hulk. I don't want it to be a one and done. I don't want She-Hulk to just be, oh, well, that series failed, let's never use the character again.
You want them to, like, fix a lot of the problems. Well, they are going to be using She-Hulk again in Secret Wars. I just slipped on the bottom of your thing.
Just apply a different tone to them. It's not difficult. I mean, the actors that we've got cast are really great. Tatiana Maslany's fantastic.
Yeah, like you said she was miscast. I don't think it's that she's miscast. I think that it's just she's miswrote. I think if you write the character better, she'll knock it out of the park. That came off the bottom of your thing and it sort of flicked my leg that way.
Okay.
But yeah, like if they wrote her character better, she'd knock it out of the park. She's just not very well written.
And it's the same with Secret Invasion.
It's not very well written.
It's not very well written at all. Secret Invasion is well known as being the most like sloppiest Disney Plus live action shows.
Well, isn't Secret Invasion in the comics like a massive event?
It's huge. So take some of the aspects of it and fucking redo it properly. Like, do it justice. I think that the MCU does a very good job of, like, you know, Iron Man 2 was pretty shit, but nobody really remembers Iron Man for Iron Man 2 because they did better stuff with him.
Yeah.
I think that there's always room to bring these characters
and, like,
in
rehab
and
them.
Yeah, give them cool moments. I don't want to see Echo disregarded because she's cool in the comics. So make her cool. Doctor Doom! This was the overlap.
This is a big overlap, isn't it?
So, after Secret Wars, I want a new Doom.
Yeah.
A Doom that we can have as an MCU regular. In the comics, Doom is disfigured during Secret Wars, and by the end, his face is healed. I personally think that this would be the perfect way to change the casting. So it goes in as RDJ, he gets injured during Doomsday, spends all of Secret Wars disfigured, and at the end, when we get our new multiverse, there's the reveal, he removes the mask, it's a new actor.
That's cool. There's a lot. I think you've streamlined there what I was like trying to say, sort of thing, a little bit. Like
I think you can do it with multiple characters as well. Like if you want
defo.
If you want to recast Iron Man,
the timeline's getting rewritten.
That's the way to do it.
I think you've streamlined there like quite a little bit. You've gone into a different theory on how you'd recast. I was just bring in a new one, put him in the Fantastic Four. But you've kind of streamlined what I was wanting to say with that. Yeah, we need a new Doom. We need him to be a regular. Oh, good lord.
This is probably the one that I'm like most passionate about. We're near the end now. This is for leaks and trailers, which we've spoken about it quite a bit. There's been a lot of leaks for the MCU. There was a famous one about Wolverine appearing in Endgame, and he was going to slash Thanos, and that's why Thanos had like scars on his face. You know, Tom Cruise appearing in Multiverse of Madness. That never fucking happened, did it? Pre-Endgame, the MCU spoiler side of the internet was easy to avoid. There were wild guesses as to who would appear in the films and what would happen. The shit with Wolverine, the Thanos fight, the internet has always spread misinformation. And I like that about cinema and films and shows. I don't want to know what happens.
Yeah.
It was happening a lot more, though, pre-Endgame. Post-Endgame, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, like I knew what I haven't kept up with the MCU, but I knew what the Thunderbolt post-credit scenes were before even going into the cinema.
It's too easy to find.
And we're not going to say them here because people might not have watched the film.
So Cap 4 should have been advertised as Captain America versus the Serpent Society / the Leader, and there shouldn't have been any indication aside
Red Hulk.
I don't know, maybe a
This
Raw.
Is their fault though. They put him in the trailers.
I completely agree. Like it's on Marvel as much as it is on leakers. But I think that word of mouth would have exploded that film, and it would have made way more money when people go, wait, there's a Red Hulk in it? Yeah. Surely not. And then they go fucking see the film. I like this new thing where companies pump out fake leaks to cover up what is actually happening.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see leaked scenes on YouTube, TikTok, or Twitter hours after the release of the film. I saw Sentry on TikTok.
Really?
Yeah, before going to see the film.
That's crazy.
I saw Tobey Maguire in No Way Home.
That was a movie I avoided spoilers for because I was like, I want to see if they're going to be in it.
But it was on my YouTube Explore.
That's mental.
It was just on there.
Yeah, I've been noticing that. Like, I go on like Facebook and like it's just there. Bang! Here's what's in the movie. It's, like,
it's fucking everywhere. We don't need it with toy leaks. I don't want to see fucking
the toy leak one is fucking ridiculous.
I don't want to see Wiccan confirmed in a Funko. The whole point I'm watching this show
is for the reveal. Sentry like his look being spoiled by a figure is meant like they've done it with Galactus. Like his full look has been hidden and then it's been spoiled in like a Chinese fucking t-shirt.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
So stop posting that shit. Trailers and film culture in general right now needs a full rework. When Wicked came out, there was a tweet that went quite viral where it was like, oh, watching Wicked, and it was a picture of Wicked's intro scene, and people were saying, they put in the caption of it, post your pictures of like your Wicked viewing so that, you know, we can celebrate watching it together, not realizing that's spoiling the fucking film. Yeah. Like, that shouldn't be a thing. People are too engrossed in social media. I know it's probably not going to change.
They should be, like, I always grew up, when I was growing up going into cinemas, it was like, turn your phone off. It's like,
yeah.
It should just be turn your phone off. You shouldn't be having your phone in a cinema.
I think that the false leak strategy is one of the smartest I've seen. Marvel seemed to be doing it on multiple fronts, as well as WWE did it.
Yeah.
WWE do it a lot, and it's really great seeing, like, journalists... journalists are posting stuff. Marvel Rivals are doing it right now, so netties that make Marvel Rivals planted fake characters and fake voice lines so that when data miners and like hackers and stuff went into the game files to see, you know, oh, we're going to get Cyclops later on in the year as a playable character. We might fucking not, because, you know, they're not real.
Yeah.
They're just voice lines thrown in there to throw people off. I think we've got my last one, I think.
Oh, okay. This is never gonna happen, but alright.
Now hear me out. If, and it's a big fucking if, Gunn's DCU is a success, for the sake of cinema and Hollywood, this crossover would be monumental.
It would. However, one thing I am going to say, you've put Batman at the forefront.
I just needed a
Batman
DC
gets
character.
one bombed by most Marvel characters.
He could take on Iron
like with
Man.
Reptile, he can bitch out God. That's the whole thing. But like Spider-Man knocks him out with a punch. And I'm a big Batman nerd. I'm a big Batman fan. I'm a big Batman fanboy.
My point is, it only has to be a one-off standalone film. It doesn't have to connect to any of their respective universes.
Not like the Amalgamverse, but like the crossover universe where they're not canon, but they happen.
I want it to be like, for example, RDJ's Iron Man versus Robert Pattinson's Batman, but it doesn't need a build-up. It doesn't need 3 phases of build-up towards it and teases. It just happens. Like, get the DCU going for, like, the next decade, and boom, clash those characters together.
Imagine an Avengers versus Justice League movie. That would, like,
this is what I'm saying.
Money.
It would be insane. I think it would...
You could even, like, have crossovers with the villains. Like, you could have Carnage meeting, like, Venom or something.
Exactly. Imagine, like... I mean, they're going to end up teaming up. Justice League versus Avengers, and then they have to team up to take on... Like, this... fucking Thanos and Doom teaming with Lex Luthor and fucking Brainiac or whatever. Would be insane.
Like the League of... Like, is it, like, the League of Doom?
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Like the League of Doom, and then, like, what's the equivalent of that?
The Unjustice League. Is that what you're thinking?
No, the League of Doom is from Justice League. And they're like Doom's Cabal. The League of Doom's Cabal. Yeah. That would be cool as fuck.
But yeah, that's why I kept that as my last one, because I thought it would be the most...
It's never, ever, ever gonna happen.
I thought you'd quite like
it.
But
I do like it. I would lose my shit if they actually did it. But
so yeah, there's my 10 pitches. So just to go over them briefly, we've got hard focus on the X-Men. We've got James Bond style rotating cast. We've got multiple Avengers teams.
Finn in the herd.
Yeah, streamline our roster and focus on what everyone's doing, like Marvel synergy basically. No token cameos in Secret Wars. Streamline your Disney Plus and figure out what the fuck you're doing with it. Because holy shit.
Yours is much more negative than mine.
Exactly. Evolve the failed.
That's a right name for an event. Evolve the failed.
Give us a new Doctor Doom. Sort out the whole leaks and trailers scenario and give us a DC crossover.
That's the first mention of DC on this channel.